All right, everybody, good afternoon and welcome on back. Continuing along, of course, our Wednesday afternoon here in the Cyber Group Trading Room and streaming across social media, Facebook and YouTube alike. Great to see everybody here. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. We got to hop right into it, guys. We have class concluding this week, and at least for the Phase 1 stock course this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So for all of our students here in our trading room, we'll look to post that link for class as soon as we're done with this very meeting, guys. So great to see everybody, though. Mike, Mark, Michael, I got three of you guys there. Bonnie, Pat, Jose, Jim, Greg, Cliff, Kathleen, Ron, Chuck, loud and clear. The M's were tripping me up there early. And great to see everybody. I see Ken S. joining us live from YouTube. Welcome on aboard, Ken. So without further ado, guys, let's go into it. We see the Dow kind of murky, a bit of a drop-off early on today. So some of our side list stocks ended up moving with the market, expectedly so. But, I'll tell you, it's been a fairly slow afternoon. There were a couple of these low float pump and dump type stocks moving around going into the late morning, guys. And here's the thing. In our trading room, in the Cyber Group room here, we have a wide variety of traders, not just in terms of, traders that follow stocks or options or commodities, but, in terms of experience. So we have a lot of students that are joining us that are brand new. But we have students that have been with us for a number of years, and even prior to joining CTU, they may have been experienced and profitable day traders for much longer. So there were a bunch of these stocks that were running around going into the late morning, early afternoon, guys. Listen, the market wasn't really doing a whole lot, and a lot of those stocks were, kind of too low float for my liking, at least. They ended up pumping up, they ended up dumping back down. So it's been a very kind of slow afternoon otherwise. I've been sitting on my hands. I will not be trading because I'll be in class at least. But for you guys here in the trading room, hopefully we have a nice, active market going into the end of this Wednesday. So, for right now, let's go through a couple of stocks right from the gainers and losers list. Like I said, just on these class days, we do more of like a lightning round edition here of the afternoon meeting. So for any of the stocks, of course, like Carve here that made a big move up early on, we'll look to recap it briefly. But with class on the horizon, I want to kind of just go through things quickly. So, let me get the pre-market settings back as always here. There we go. Always happens when I switch from the Dow Jones. So Carve, you can see here right after 8 o'clock, we had this on our pre-market watch list. As soon as Fausto had posted it, we ended up seeing the Carve trade take off, ended up moving up essentially from 5 to 12. Well, going into the open, you would expect for this stock to pull back, especially with how much Carve was up leading into the open. But with the trend, the momentum that this stock carried, we saw the pop right out of the gate. And with that, the stock ended up getting halted. I mean, I think at this point for Carve, and then there was another one, COHN, which we'll get to. We've seen so many of these stocks get halted numerous times throughout the day today, guys. And typically, as we've seen on these stocks, when they end up getting halted on the way down, oftentimes it's the end of the total run. But when we see stocks get halted on the way down, they end up opening up a lot lower compared to how stocks open higher when they get halted on the way up. So for this Carve trade, this thing was nasty. I mean, ended up dumping back down a little bit after the open. I think this was off of the halt. Nope, no halt yet here at least. Ended up popping up shortly after the open, then the dump off though. And from there, this thing was pretty wacky. Ended up holding 16, going up just about 6+ points up to 22, but dumped back down another 8 points down to 14. Essentially, guys, the theme here with lower highs, we ended up seeing a lower low. This thing slammed all the way back down to $9. So, right now we're seeing this make a nice little short squeeze, short-lived run up, perhaps from 9, from 10. I saw Nancy F in our chat board here pick up just about $2+ on her trade. I think she was in from $9.30. Nevertheless, this Carve trade, guys, it held resistance at 15 flawlessly. It's pulling back down now. The only reason I would put this on our list is just given the range. It just wouldn't surprise me for this stock to make like a $5 run going into the close. But I wouldn't expect this stock to make a whole new, crazy run up going into the end of the afternoon, especially given the pre-market run, especially given the pop after the open and then the dump back down here. So I feel like the run, the main run, is now at this point over, and especially the second little run up here. I will kind of just keep this on the side, maybe come back to it at the very end, just checking on it. All right. AFH, halted on the way down. You could see by the HFTs on time and sales. So the AFH trade, this one ended up doing very nicely for us. Steady trend off the lows, maintained a couple of steady trends throughout the day. But most importantly, this stock had a fairly contained spread. It was a 1 to 3 cent spread throughout most of this run up. So even as this ended up running up and getting halted on the way down, it continued to push up, over time. So alongside, like I had said, the Carve and the Cohen, I guess this one as well, I forgot the AFH, Atlas Financial Holdings, ended up making a huge run up. At this point now, though, it's halted on the way down. I would not be surprised at this point, up 360+% still, to see this totally dump off now. But this one's closer to the highs. This has a huge gap on the daily chart here that I'm looking at. I guess a fairly new IPO, if I'm not mistaken, too. I don't really have much data after. Oh, nope, I lied. Thought my thing was jammed there. Oh, and there's the reopen. Opened up lower. There we go. Pop back up. This might get halted pretty shortly on the way back up. Nevertheless, this stock has a big gap to fill, but has a ways to go just to get to the top here right off of 350. Is that? Yeah, 350. All right. So either way, guys, I mean, same to be said with this the AFH trade. I don't know why that's tripping me up. But yeah, we'll come back to this, I guess, at the end. But for a stock that made as big of a run as that made, I wouldn't expect for it to make a second big move. Here's Cohen. I mean, this thing is just all over the place. I told you guys earlier, I was staying way away from this stock. I mean, throughout the entire day. See a stock go from 4 to 18 sounds incredible, but imagine getting in off the top, right? So where I said that this stock, or many stocks for that matter, have they tend to reopen lower or at a lower rate, or they tend to gap, to a better rate on the way down compared to on the way up. So here with Cohen, you could see, and I'll zoom in here. Stock ended up getting halted right here at 1103. The price was at 1665. Look at the gap down. Reopened up about a few minutes later off its halt at 1176. This gap down much further than it had gapped up. And that's what I was trying to say earlier. But nevertheless, Cohen, I mean, again, same with the other one, ended up making a second little run up. But here's the issue, guys. This is why, I'm staying away from a stock like Cohen or really any other stock like this. Before today, when it's trading today, 4.4 million shares, this stock on average, just on an average day, trades 23,904 shares. Again, 23,904. I mean, that is, as I would be blunt here, and I'll say, that's piss poor, guys. That is very low. So it's not surprising to see a stock like Cohen make this low float type run up and then right back down. And, so this one's not even going to be on the side. This one's done. MFAC, so far I've been a big hater. I really haven't had too many stocks to watch or put on our list going into the close. Kind of a bunch of complaining about a few of these trades. DXF ended up making a nice run just recently, but pulled back. The LMFA, this was one of our better trades, at least. Ran up very nicely off of 310 there at the time, held very nicely from pre-market. Ran up steadily up towards 5, dumped right back down. So, we expect that to happen. So, the run was great on this one, but at this point, obviously, does not seem to be ready for a new run. MDLY here. Little recent run. See, here's the thing. Based on the volume indicator here, the stock trades 400,000 shares on average a day. That's including today. So before today, the stock's trading 268,000. So, that's a pretty big discrepancy. Just goes to show with a lot of these low volume, low float stocks, they tend to, drop off in momentum very sharply. So, nice little run up here once again, but I'm going to pass. Now this IDEX. All right, now we're talking. So IDEX, we've been watching this over the last week or so. You can see on the daily chart, big jump up from like 80 cents up to $1.40. Well, look what happened the following couple of days, right? I mean, it pulled back, it dropped off. So, that is to be expected. But, just like on some of these other stocks, guys, we're not going to totally throw these stocks in the trash. I mean, maybe later on this week, we'll see Carve move back up again. But hey, IDEX, look at this breakout once again this morning, running up beautifully off of resistance that we had from pre-market. It took a while, but it ended up breaking above resistance off of 125, and ever since, I mean, it's been on a mission. So with this breakout off of 2, I would expect a pop and drop. this being the first time this is testing major resistance and breaking above it, I would expect for this to, pop above 2, but then pull right back down. So, we're certainly going to put this on our list going into the close. I hope to see this make a stronger run should this pull back underneath 2, and if it gets back through 2 for a second crack, that's where I'd expect a sharper run into the close. All right, guys, give me a split sec here. I think my screen's locking up for right now. I don't know what's happening here. Good. You can see the little jam up there. All right, so IDEX again. We're going to put this on our list right away, guys. I'm going to quickly scroll through the gainer side. I don't know why my screen's locking up on me here, but nonetheless, I'm just going to go through some familiar names in the meantime, just from the gainer side. I see the CLIR trade. That one was moving pretty nicely for us yesterday. There we go. Screen's good. So CLIR, this one ended up making a nice little run up from pre-market, but dumped off pretty shortly after. Again, same thing. I feel like that one not only will be a bust today, but probably bust tomorrow with the extended run up this morning. Watt trade, this was a big disaster after the open, unfortunately. This was up big in pre-market. We followed this from last week, made a huge run going into the end of, I think it was Wednesday of last week or Thursday, the afternoon. So we're familiar with this trade. So I was very excited to trade this stock this morning. Of course, as you could see, dumped off and never really made a good opportunity for us to try and jump in on. All right, let's see before my screen locks up again. I don't know what the heck happened there. I saw Kirk break out over 2 earlier today. KIRK made a move up to 220, pulled back down though. My size MYSZ, this one was moving up early in pre-market. I was hoping. Of course, that's the key word, hope. But with that major level off of 150 resistance, I was expecting I was hoping for a pop and a really nice run from there. Obviously, that did not happen. So, for right now, we'll keep this on the side for the meantime as well. All right, U1K. I guess I'd be remiss to not mention the Class D stock here. Urban One, Class D and the regular here, U1 here. U1 looks like it's kind of based off around 15 and pushed up, ever so slightly, but I'm not going to put my eggs in that basket, guys. U1K totally dumping back down. I was talking to Ben in our chat board earlier today about this. We were following both of these yesterday throughout most of the day, and certainly going into the afternoon. But at some point yesterday, the K stock broke off. Class D stock broke off from the main one. And when we were expecting this one to make a sharper move up, it just didn't. So, with U1 dropping off, this is tailing off and pulling back much further at this point. Maybe this will come back to life. Maybe, Thursday, Friday this week, maybe next week, perhaps. I hope so. This was a really fun trade yesterday. All right, let's hop over to the losers list, guys. I see from Dwayne here in a chat board, I see it picked up about 75 cents. You got in on Carve from 13.12. We'll jump back to that in just a moment, Dwayne, but nice catch. Semi. So we're talking about some busts earlier today between Watt and this trade Semi. Man, this was such a bust trade. Given how much this was down in the pre-market, I was hoping for either a much bigger dead cat bounce up to see this make a sharper squeeze with the short traders taking profits early on. It didn't really do that. It made a small little squeeze up. Myself and Fausto were going over this in our trading room earlier, but look at it. It's done nothing since. And, hey, at the same time, the stock is shortable. So if it's not breaking higher, there's only one other way the stock's going to go. And, for right now, we're beginning to see that. But again, with the range, I was hoping for a better move up or down. I'm not going to put my eggs in this basket right now for the afternoon. It is still a tradable stock, but, I was expecting a better trade on this from earlier. Again, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. So I'm not going to throw this completely in the trash just yet. EMPH, what happened to this today? I saw Ben take a couple of trades. I saw a few of us jump in on the short early on here. With EMPH, did anyone post news on this? I see a bunch of trades here. Call outs off 38 in our trading room. I don't have anything from the trading room. Let me check Benzinga Pro on this EMPH trade. Says from 1:50 Eastern time, guys. I'm going to post this in both social media and the trading room. Enphase Energy short seller doubles down on fraud allegations following third-party investigation. Yikes. Post that here on YouTube right now. There we go. All right, so given the bad news, we ended up seeing this make a gigantic drop off, essentially from 52 all the way down to 38, sub 38 for that matter. You could see, of course, it's been squeezing up thus far going into the afternoon. So it's definitely one I'll put on our list. EMPH, tradable stock by all measures, a little bit on the higher end as far as price, but all right. Groupon. Let's take a look on Groupon here. We are looking at this holdover 22 for a little while. This Groupon trade, we've been talking about this more off than on over the last week or so. I found this on the losers list maybe a few days back, and I was saying, well, what the hell happened here? I remember this stock being much cheaper. So we found out there was a reverse split maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And typically, here's a little learning lesson, guys. If there's a company that's doing a reverse split, of course, it could be more for this more than for this reason, but mostly you would expect a company to do a reverse split to remain above listing requirements, NASDAQ listing requirements here. So that's normally not a good sign for a company to do that. And historically, when a stock or when a company reverse splits, you'll see a squeeze up, a gap up, or a run up maybe on a pre-market morning, but it's going to dump back down. We've seen this recently on a few stocks, most notably CHK, Chesapeake Energy. I know that CHK is declaring bankruptcy soon, or there's word that they are. But nonetheless, Groupon. Why do I bring this up? Groupon, unlike the others, Groupon shortable. CHK was hard to borrow. This is not even hard to borrow. This is easy to borrow. It doesn't say HB next to the ticker. So this has been a nonstop drop off all day, guys. I mean, I wish I had more focus on this early in the pre-market or early after the market opened. The volume died off on this trade, but this stock kept going. So for the afternoon, I'm going to put this on our list for right now. The spread's a little wacky. It could open up at times, but for right now, this stock is holding very nicely over 22. I would focus on whole number levels, 50-cent whole number levels going into the afternoon for this Groupon trade. All right, so where does that take us now? A bunch of stuff hard to borrow. The CXW is not pushing up fairly nicely. Core Civic, I think we've traded this stock in the past too, long while ago. If I'm not mistaken, this is a company that is in relations with like private prisons. I remember there was some news that came out years and years ago in relation to private prisons. I remember the CXW made like a monster run. I'm trying to dig into Benzinga right now on it. Either way, I mean, the spreads are tight. Liquid order book, made a nice move up and down, squeezing off 10 right now. So, it's a tradable stock. It's down big. I'll certainly put this on our list for now, CXW. Let's see, trading lower after the company suspended its quarterly dividend and issued April and May sales guidance. That's the news this morning on this trade. All right. Well, either way, we'll make our list for right now. Let's see. I don't think there's much else, guys. I mean, if there's any side list stocks that look great, let me know. I actually, there's one or two that do come to mind just right off the bat. I'll go through them quick. DraftKings, DKNG, it's only up 2%, but made a very nice move up from earlier today. Very steady trend. And for right now, it's pushing back up here. So with a short list right now, guys, I wouldn't mind featuring the DraftKings trade, putting this on our list. I normally would look for a stock that's up or down way more than this, in terms of percent, but name stock, we've been following this throughout the day today, although it pulled back a little bit here. We're hoping for a stronger run going into the close. So all right, guys, let me know if you have anything else, though. I think that's pretty much all I had. So Momo earlier, but that died off. I see from here, from YouTube, a comment, NET. Let's take a look on NET. I forgot about this one. Great call. Yeah, so this NET stock, Cloudware, or Cloudflare, fairly new company on the exchanges, IPO, not over the last month, but probably over the last few. Yeah, I remember this from September, October. We were digging into IPOs at the time. This net trade came out and pushed up nicely at first, dumped off. So we lost track with it for a while, but typically when a stock breaks all-time highs, there's no historical ceiling to work with. So, with that in mind here, we're going to focus on this going into the close, especially with the run and break that this stock had today. I don't think we focused on this as much yesterday or even the day before, but certainly today we did, and we'll continue going into the afternoon. And also, this stock is shortable as well. So if this completely craps out from this point, guys, and drops off, I mean, this would be a decent opportunity to short on the way down. All right. Let's see here from Sono. I got Chuck here saying Sono, S-O-N-O. Yeah, let's see. Is my screen locking up on me again here? That might be the case. Man, this week's been bad technology-wise for me. Chuck, I see Sono. I had to type it up on another screen. It's not showing right now for you guys here. Sono made a big pop from 1330. It's all the way up to 14 right now. So given the recent run, I'll put that on our list once my screen unfreezes. I'm sure up there we go. Sono's up there. All right. And NKLA from Abdallah making a comeback. A little pricey. It is making a small run off 65 or small bounce rather. Right now, I'm going to pass. It is up more than 5%, but for right now, I'm going to pass on the Nikola. All right, so good call on the Sono trade, Chuck. Check the time, 2:51. I'll tell you, we're cutting close to class, so I think we have a pretty decent list. Let's go back to that carve trade. Dwayne picked up about 75 cents on his position. Yeah, man, this thing's like this thing's just up and down. 15's major resistance. So, that's a really strong level to keep in mind. That would be an interesting setup to focus on. It also seems like 14 has been holding pretty recently over the last, or pretty strong over the most recent, 20 or 30 minutes here. But for right now, I'm going to pass on putting this on the main list. If you made money on this trade earlier and consistently for that matter, I'm sure that you're going to focus on this going into the close. But, for right now, it made such a big move up from earlier today and dumped off quite a bit. So it did make a small bounce just before from 9.9 or 9.50. I wouldn't expect for it to make a second big run going into the close. All right, guys, so we're good. We have 2, 4, 6, 7 stocks to work with right now heading into the end of the day. That's one more. Sorry, guys. I said I would check in on AFH. This one is closer to the highs. It is cheaper. It has a much more liquid order book and a tighter spread. So we're not maxed out just yet. We'll throw the AFH on at the end here, guys. All right, so now in total, 2, 4, 6, 8 stocks to work with going into the close. So I'll text these. I'll tweet these out to you guys. I'm going to post the link for class coming up shortly after, guys. So for all of us in the trading room here, just give me a quick minute or two to do that. For anybody streaming across social media, Facebook, YouTube, you guys know the deal at this point. Make sure that you guys call the phone number down below on the banner shown, and one of our education advisors will provide more details if you guys are more interested. All right, guys. So for all of us in the trading room here, I look forward to seeing most of us in class coming up today. For those of you not joining class, I hope that you guys have a profitable afternoon. Take care.